Located some 190 kilometers from Hanoi, Nghi Sơn Economic Zone in the northern province of Thanh Hóa has all the potentials and advantages to become a comprehensive multi-sector economic zone with more focus on heavy and fundamental industries such as oil refinery and petrochemical industry, thermal and processing and export. This creates great advantages for those who want to invest here. Let's now take a look at the potentials and opportunities of this economic zone.
Nghi Sơn Economic Zone was established by the Prime Minister in 2006 with a view to foster the development of the south of Thanh Hóa and the north of Nghệ An. With favorable natural and social conditions, Nghi Sơn Economic Zone is one of the 8 economic zones that are priorities for grants from the government budget from 2016 to 2020 for developing technological and social infrastructure.
Nghi Sơn thì nó nằm ở phía Bắc Trung Bộ và có một cái vị trí rất quan trọng là kết nối giao thông. Đường bộ thì có đường 1A, đường Hồ Chí Minh và đường ven biển tới đây đang thi công. Và về đường biển thì nó là một cái khu vực cảng nước sâu, có tới hơn 50 bến cảng tổng hợp và chuyên dùng và container và khu vực logistics và rất tốt để đảm bảo có thể vận chuyển hàng hóa, trung chuyển hàng hóa trong nước và quốc tế. Chúng tôi cũng rất thuận tiện là cách sân bay Thọ Xuân 60 km thì chúng tôi đã có một cái tuyến đường kết nối từ cảng hàng không Thọ Xuân đi khu kinh tế Nghi Sơn để tạo cái điều kiện cho các cái nhà đầu tư đến đầu tư tại khu kinh tế thì cũng được kết nối bằng hàng không.
Additionally, human resource is also a strength of Nghi Sơn Economic Zone.
Hiện tại là đang khoảng 250.000 dân số đang sinh sống tại khu kinh tế này. Và cái nguồn lực lao động nó cũng lớn. Cái dân số vàng của Thanh Hóa là hiện tại đang 2,3 triệu người và tổng dân số trên 3,6 triệu người. Và đồng thời Nghệ An cũng trên 3 triệu dân. Thì cả hai tỉnh này là một trong những cái nguồn lực lao động rất tốt cho nguồn nhân lực cho khu kinh tế.
With both natural and social advantages, Nghi Sơn Economic Zone had attracted 157 domestic investment projects by the end of 2017, with a total investment of $4.13 billion, in addition to 15 FDI projects with a total investment of over $12.8 billion. Among these, many are large projects, which play a crucial role in the development of Nghi Sơn Economic Zone. The most important project in the economic zone is the oil refinery plant, with a total investment of over $9 billion and plant capacity of 200,000 barrels per day. As one of the first projects implemented in Nghi Sơn Economic Zone, Nghi Sơn 1 thermal power plant has been completed and put into operation for commercial activities. This is one of the key projects contributing to ensuring electricity supply in northern region and developing Nghi Sơn Economic Zone.
Khi mà chúng tôi bắt đầu xây dựng cái nhà máy này là bắt đầu từ năm 2007, thì tại thời điểm đấy thì cơ sở vật chất, hạ tầng, đường xá, cảng biển và các doanh nghiệp phụ trợ ở đấy là gần như không có. Tuy nhiên mà song song với quá trình bắt đầu giải phóng mặt bằng thì tỉnh ủy, ủy ban nhân dân tỉnh, ban quản lý khu kinh tế Nghi Sơn đã hết sức nhanh chóng thực hiện rất nhiều các hạng mục cơ sở hạ tầng, nên là công tác xây dựng của nhà máy đã được tiến hành hết sức thuận lợi và rất hết sức nhanh chóng.
North Continental Oils and Fats Vietnam Company Limited, an FDI project in Nghi Sơn Economic Zone, is a subsidiary of the Singaporean company Musimas. The company specializes in producing cooking oils and cooking oil byproducts, with a total investment amount of $71.5 million, with a capacity of 1,500 tons per day. The favorable conditions in Nghi Sơn Economic Zone were the reasons the company chose to open its factory here.
Trước khi quyết định đầu tư tại khu kinh tế Nghi Sơn thì công ty chúng tôi cũng có đi khảo sát rất nhiều các cái khu vực tại Việt Nam và nhận thấy rằng là khu kinh tế Nghi Sơn có rất nhiều cái lợi thế. Thứ nhất là lợi thế về giao thông, có cảng nước sâu Nghi Sơn thuận lợi cho cái việc nhập khẩu hàng hóa. Thứ hai là có cảng hàng không Thọ Xuân và có hệ thống đường sắt. Như vậy là rất là thuận tiện trong cái việc phân phối sản phẩm đến người tiêu dùng.
Besides the advantages in geographical location and infrastructure, Preferential policies are one of the important factors in attracting investment to the economic zone. Nghi Sơn Economic Zone is approved by the government to apply the highest preferential policies for investors.
Có rất nhiều ưu đãi về thuế, tức là giảm thuế, miễn thuế trong một số năm. Đấy. Các nhà dự án đầu tư vào khu kinh tế Nghi Sơn để được miễn thuế nhập khẩu trang thiết bị trong một thời gian nhất định. Đấy. Và đặc biệt là thuế thu nhập doanh nghiệp và thuế thu nhập cá nhân cũng được miễn giảm ưu đãi so với các khu khác. Đặc biệt nếu mà nhà đầu tư vào khu kinh tế Nghi Sơn sẽ được tỉnh hỗ trợ về công tác giải phóng mặt bằng, được hỗ trợ một cái phần về săn nền theo quy định.
Besides preferential policies, Nghi Sơn Management Board also provides investors with support in administrative procedures and legal issues, facilitating the investment process.
Chúng tôi phải cải cách mạnh mẽ thủ tục hành chính, rút ngắn thời gian, hỗ trợ nhà đầu tư làm tất cả thủ tục liên quan đến các cái sở ngành có liên quan. Các hồ sơ mà liên quan đến trung ương thì ban chúng tôi cũng phải chủ trì để hỗ trợ cho họ. Thì bản thân lãnh đạo ban cũng phải đứng ra và các phòng chuyên môn phải đứng ra để hỗ trợ họ từng khâu từng bước một. Có những thủ tục chúng tôi rút ngắn đến 90% thời gian.
Ban quản lý khu kinh tế Nghi Sơn có những cái hướng dẫn để công ty chúng tôi tuân thủ tất cả các quy định của pháp luật Việt Nam về vận hành, về xây dựng. Trực tiếp về Ban quản lý khu kinh tế Nghi Sơn đã hỗ trợ đưa các cái sản phẩm của chúng tôi đến với các cái nhà phân phối, đến các người tiêu dùng của Việt Nam.
Các anh cũng là tổ chức các cái cuộc họp, các cuộc hội nghị xúc tiến đầu tư, các cái hội nghị lắng nghe ý kiến của các chủ đầu tư để từ đó đề ra các giải pháp.
Thanks to the aforementioned support, so far 82 projects have been put into operation, contributing to the state budget and creating jobs for local people. With favorable conditions, an incentive mechanism, and strategic policies and directions, Nghi Sơn Economic Zone is experiencing a breakthrough in all fields, becoming a bright spot for economic development, not only in Thanh Hóa province, but also in the whole country.
Those are some economic highlights over the past week. Up next in our crosstalk, we will take a look at Vietnam's achievements in sustainable development and measures to build on these successes. After more than 30 years of reforms, Vietnam has reaped the benefits of higher economic growth and an improved standard of living. In 2017, the economy grew by an impressive 6.81%, laying an important foundation for sustainable development in the years ahead. However, challenges still abound as the GDP per capita and productivity remain low, and Vietnam is at great risk of being caught in the middle income trap. Experts had advised that Vietnam should take action to achieve sustainable development, but what exactly does that entail? Our Baseline this week tries to find out. First off, we'll take a look at Vietnam's achievements in achieving sustainable development so far.
The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, composed of 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, was approved by United Nations member countries, including Vietnam, in 2015. This has become a top priority in Vietnam's development strategy.
17 mục tiêu phát triển bền vững của Liên Hiệp Quốc chính là một sự gợi mở về mặt chiến lược để Việt Nam thực hiện chiến lược cải cách và phát triển của mình. Việt Nam tự tin sẽ đạt được và thậm chí hoàn thành trước nhiều mục tiêu phát triển bền vững của Liên Hiệp Quốc trước năm 2030.
Vietnam has made impressive progress in fulfilling its Millennium Development Goals, or MDGs. This is the foundation for the implementation of Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. Vietnam's efforts to evolve into a more sustainable and resilient society have paid off. Multidimensional poverty rate fell from 9.8% in 2015 to below 7% in 2017. 73% of the population having access to essential healthcare services, health insurance coverage reaching 86.4% in 2017. The primary net enrollment rate at 98% in 2016 to 2017, and the primary completion rate at 99.7%. Annual GDP growth reached 5 to 6% over the last decade. Especially, the GDP growth rate in the first half of this year hit 7.08%, the highest six-month figure since 2011. International integration has been more deepened and comprehensive. Vietnam's position in the world stage has also been improved.
Joining our BizLine this week is Mr. Dennis Brunetti, co-chair of the Advisory Group on Sustainable Development and Digitalization Evolution, and also co-chairman of European Chamber of Commerce in Vietnam. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure being here.
Now, first off, what is your assessment about Vietnam's achievement and efforts in achieving the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, especially for the business community?
The Sustainable Development Goals, the primary focus is really to ensure that there's a universal call of action. Basically having all peoples from all over the world, and of course Vietnam included, focused on reducing poverty, eliminating poverty where possible, and of course looking after the planet, as well as making sure the environment is sustainable and resources are used sustainably. And Vietnam certainly is doing a great job. This year, Vietnam celebrates 30 years of foreign direct investment. There's been a big transformation in Vietnam. So clearly, the international business community and the local business community have come together and really partnered in many cases, collaborated in terms of education, for example, as well as in technology transfer, in terms of investment in areas like smart manufacturing and smart agriculture, and trying to make business more sustainable, trying to deliver services, products to the community in a more efficient way, and reducing the carbon footprint, of course, in doing so. Okay. I think there's been a lot of good progress.
What specific economic challenges remain for Vietnam in achieving these goals?
With increased urbanisation in Vietnam, which is quite significant, today I think 38% of the population is urbanised in Vietnam, but that's going to grow to about 50% by 2030. So with more people coming in, about 1.25 million people per year moving into big cities for work and for living in general, that puts a lot of stress and strain on public services like healthcare and education. So it's super important that whenever we build up more infrastructure and more accommodation for people that are moving into the cities, making sure that it's sustainably done. That, I think, is the biggest challenge. It's important really to ensure that there's a harmony between the actual development and the environment around the development and the connection with education, healthcare and other important institutions.
According to the World Economic Forum, a circular economy is an industrial system that is restorative or regenerative by intention and design. It replaces the end-of-life concept with restoration, shifts towards the use of renewable energy, eliminates the use of toxic chemicals. Therefore, it is regarded as a way towards sustainable development.
Theo báo cáo tại Diễn đàn Kinh tế Thế giới năm 2016 thì cái cơ hội về nền kinh tế tuần hoàn hàng năm là khoảng 4,5 nghìn tỷ đô cho các doanh nghiệp, và các độ khoảng nó mở ra các cơ hội về phát triển bền vững mở ra khoảng 12.000 tỷ đô hàng năm và tạo ra khoảng 280 triệu việc làm mỗi năm.
The concept of a circular economy is rather new in Vietnam. Nonetheless, some enterprises have made actions to implement this model. INSEE Vietnam has invested $21.74 million in renovating its cement kilns in order to replace coals with waste as fuel. One of its subsidiaries, INSEE EcoCycle, is in charge of turning wastes from several manufacturing companies into fuel.
Cái chất thải từ ngành công nghiệp da dày, các cái chất thải nguy hại khác, giống như là các cái chất thải nguy hại mà theo quy định của QCVN 40 chẳng hạn, thì chúng tôi đều có thể xử lý được hoàn toàn và triệt để. Từ năm 2003 cho đến bây giờ thì chúng tôi đã đồng xử lý an toàn và triệt để hơn 1 triệu tấn chất thải trong lò nung xi măng.
According to the Vietnam Business Council for Sustainable Development, enterprises play an important role in suggesting initiatives to accelerate the implementation of the circular economy model.
At a conference held earlier this month that I believe you also attended, circular economy was mentioned as a possible solution for Vietnam to speed up the process to achieve the 17 SDGs, especially in the context of the Industrial Revolution 4.0. So what is your take on this?
The circular economy, of course, is all about regenerative cycles, and regenerating materials that are used in production of goods, making sure that they're reused and recycled in an efficient fashion, reducing waste, reducing carbon dioxide emissions, and reducing energy leakage. And that's got to be good for sustainable development, both in Vietnam and elsewhere, of course. So there's an increased focus on that, and I'm actually very encouraged to see and hear that the Vietnamese government and the people of Vietnam are so focused on it. And the circular economy, whatever names we give it, there's a lot of high-tech names out there. We talk smart cities, we talk Industry 4.0, we talk a lot of terms that maybe the average person doesn't fully necessarily understand, but they all basically converge to the same fundamental point, and that is that through digitisation, through the use of data, through the efficient use of our ICT networks, we can make Vietnam more sustainable.
Now, moving on from that, what lessons and experiences can Vietnam learn from international practice?
I think Vietnam already is learning quite a lot, actually, from dealing with different chambers, like my own, the European Chamber of Commerce. In Vietnam is very active in terms of working with the Vietnamese government as well as with Vietnamese companies. We have this concept or this thing called the Green Book that we generate every year. There's a lot of suggestions and ways to actually make your business more green and economically friendly. We have a lot of suggestions from different companies in different industries. And clearly we see that there's a lot of focus now in Vietnam, especially on e-government. And the Prime Minister, I really commend and congratulate the Prime Minister and his government for putting a big focus on e-government. So basically they're saying smart cities and sustainable development should begin at the government level first and foremost. So we should lead by example and use data, digitalise our own ways of working within the government across different ministries. And then obviously by setting that example, others will follow. So I think that's a fantastic initiative, and Estonia is being used as one of the countries which is a member of the EU, the European Union, as a prime example of a very good e-government showcase. So Vietnam has embraced, and the Vietnamese government has embraced that concept. And it's really all about making sure that, that Vietnam doesn't compare itself to other countries, but rather compares itself to Vietnam, and see where Vietnam was and where Vietnam is and where Vietnam is going. And certainly that trajectory is extremely positive.
A number of enterprises have made sustainable development a priority in their business strategy. It has benefited not only enterprises themselves, but also their partners in the production chain.
We focus on the SDGs which are most relevant to our business. So we actually focus and build an action plan around 8 out of the 17 SDGs. Say clean energy for SDG 7, where we switch from using diesel boilers to power our breweries to using clean biomass energy. That's in furtherance of SDG number 7, but it's also saving us money. It's putting more money back into rice farmers that we buy rice husks off, and it's reduced our carbon emissions by more than 50% in the last few years.
However, experts say that small and medium enterprises, or SMEs, do not have enough resources to pursue sustainable development, especially as most Vietnamese firms are of small and medium scale.
Ví dụ nhập một cái thiết bị để đảm bảo về môi trường thì phải là công nghệ. Mà công nghệ thì lại phải cần đến tiềm lực kinh tế, rồi nó lại phụ thuộc vào cái quy mô ở thị trường của cái doanh nghiệp đó. Mà nhỏ thì không thể làm được. Thì nên chăng là nhà nước có nên những khu hỗ trợ tập trung, có thể là đầu tư ở dạng công tư phối hợp cho doanh nghiệp nhỏ vừa thuê.
Experts say that building a partnership which includes both the government and private sector is important in order for enterprises to foster sustainable development.
We have seen many large-scale firms such as Unilever, Heineken, Vingroup apply sustainable development models within their firms. So how relevant is this to the global trend that Vietnam has been following?
Yeah, I can't speak for those companies specifically, of course, but I can speak for European companies invested in Vietnam. There's a strong focus on sustainable development because we understand that consumers, especially European consumers, they actually choose products and services based on criteria that's around the sustainable development agenda. For example, they look at carbon dioxide emissions that were used in creating that product, for example. They look at the labour law, the labour standard. European consumers are very advanced in the way that they actually seek out and purchase their products and services, and clearly we're seeing more of that trend in Vietnam And that's why I think the companies you mentioned are so focused on it. So it's not only good to do the right thing, but it's also good to do it for business reasons. So you'll get more consumers and more revenues, more profitable revenues actually, by focusing on sustainable development type initiatives. More consumers will be drawn to your products and services if you have got that sort of green tick in the box in terms of being sustainable and environmentally focused. So sustainable development is good for business as well as good for the environment.
How is the Vietnamese business community rated in terms of their social responsibilities compared to other regional and global nations?
To compare Vietnam to other countries is not always the best thing to do. I think it's important to compare Vietnam to yourself. I mean, Vietnam has come such a long way in the last 30 years, and we talked about that earlier in the interview. So clearly Vietnam should really make sure that it continues to drive and really focus on generating even more positive momentum by embracing foreign ideas, foreign business investment, more FDI directed at high tech, more education in terms of ICT and data science in particular. I think when it comes to artificial intelligence and virtual reality, augmented reality, big data, all that type of area, coding, software coding, is going to help generate the future sustainable jobs, but also the future sustainable industries in Vietnam.
Apart from financial statement, a report on sustainable development is now cited as a vital part in evaluating an enterprise.
Báo cáo phát triển bền vững tổng thể thì nó làm gia tăng thêm cái năng lực cạnh tranh nội tại của các doanh nghiệp khi những vấn đề đó được đưa vào quản trị một cách hệ thống và cam kết một cách đầy đủ, liên tục và đồng nhất của ban lãnh đạo qua các thời kỳ phát triển. Đặc biệt đối với những ngành mà có rất nhiều cạnh tranh như ngành giày da, ngành thủy sản, ngành dệt may.
The report on sustainable development is said to also increase the value of enterprises on the stock market.
Báo cáo phát triển bền vững có đầy đủ thông tin sẽ giúp cho nhà đầu tư có thể đặt niềm tin vào doanh nghiệp, và từ đấy thì có thể trở thành những nhà đầu tư dài hạn, những nhà đầu tư đi cùng sự phát triển của doanh nghiệp.
In July of last year, the Ho Chi Minh City Stock Exchange introduced VNSI, a sustainability index which comprises 20 listed enterprises with the best corporate sustainability results. It is expected to serve as a basis for investors to make the investment decisions.
Would CSI impact businesses to make more efforts and to take actions to achieve sustainability, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, again, you don't want to sort of rank against other countries, but you do want to see what your score is. I mean, where you're rated or how you're rated today compared to how you were rated in the past. In terms of ease of doing business in Vietnam, for example, has increased. Vietnam has gone from, I think, 82nd to 68th. So that also is another positive trend. There's many positive trends in Vietnam. So it's not the number itself that's important, or the ranking or the rating itself that's important, but rather the relative rating and ranking compared to where you were before. I think that helps actually create more focus and attention and energy and passion towards this important area, which I think in Vietnam has got a lot of focus from not only the media, but business as well as the government.
The Vietnamese government has made great efforts to assist the private sector to develop sustainably. So how can all stakeholders build on existing success?
It's really about making sure we're not working in silos, where the government's focusing on one area, business is working on it separately to education, working on it separately to startup community. I mean, it's got to all be integrated. And I think that's also a key ingredient to smart cities. Smart collaboration, making sure that information is shared, having a database, for example, and the government's really focused now on creating a single database that can be used across the country, across all industries. And the government is very focused on that, and I think that's important. So again, reinforcing the message that innovation, education and collaboration is really going to be the prime drivers behind making sure that sustainable development happens for real in Vietnam and continues to generate positive returns for the people and for business in general.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you very much for having me on the show.
For now, strong growth coupled with environmentally sustainability, social equality and integration will be the main pillar for Vietnam's economy. And the sustainable development is indisputably the goal of any country in the world. Accordingly, it is necessary to continue refining institutions and policies to create a full market economy that is efficient and integrated into the global economy. At the same time, private sector should be more hands-on in order to facilitate rapid and sustainable growth for the economy. And that's it for this edition of BizLine. For more news and updates, please log on to vtv4.vn or our YouTube channel at VTV4Go. Goodbye for now, and thanks for stopping by.